enough or not enough. Just enough to satisfy our neighbors and our friends. Just enough to say that we're part of the organization. Just enough to get a tax write-off somewhere and to impress someone that it enhances us going forward. It's just enough, but not enough. I see that every day. We do things far too often that are not enough to resolve challenges, but enough to give us the ability to say that we try. Or we don't try at all because it's too difficult. What I see you doing is something that I think is quite remarkable. Because you're in a situation whereby you don't have to spend your Saturday afternoons away from your families, away from your job, responsibilities. You're in a situation in Montgomery County, an affluent community, virtually I see most of the professional people around, people who do not have to impress anyone about what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it. And you're doing so. And you're doing so for people who may not, at this point, fully appreciate or understand, or you don't see the kind of instant returns of what you do. The other challenge is, yes, we do things, but we don't see the return of it. We don't see the great thanks for what we're doing. But here's the value about what you do about education. That you don't know when the connection is made. Let me give you an example about my life. Remember I told you that my mother and my teachers said to me that you can literally make it in one ear, out the other. I don't see that. That's foreign to me. I may have seen an African American on television who was a lawyer, but I don't see one anywhere in my community. I may have seen a person on television playing a banker. I haven't seen it here. But the good teacher, the person who believes, continues to teach, continue to inspire, continue to give, continue to be the model and the example. And so I would hear all of these things. And my high school football coach said, "You're a smart kid. You simply have not applied yourself." I barely did get out of high school because I didn't apply myself. I didn't have that hope, the aspiration. And at the end of high school, I was faced with a dilemma. What I wanted to do. In poor Louisiana, many of my friends decided they would go off to the military. That was the only profession that you would see African Americans at that point in time treated with dignity and respect. In the military. And I recognized it. And so one of the options was, I would go in the military. But my coach and my mother said, "You are a very bright student. You can go far. You need to go to college." I had no money, no scholarships, living in rural Louisiana. And so, and some of you may have heard this before, so I got on a bus from Alexandria, Louisiana, drove to the capital of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, went directly to the university office. And they had this program where people would actually work on the university campus during the summers, and they would apply the money that you would make toward room and board for the fall. And they would give you a small stipend. And that was your entree for, quote, those who deserved it to get in college. So I walked up to the office and said, "I want to participate in this program." And the first response was, "Where's your letter of authorization?" I didn't have it. He sent me away. I came back a couple of hours later. They asked me for transcripts and a lot of other official stuff. They sent me away a second time. I came back a third time after lunch. a series of similar questions. They sent me away a third time. I came back the fourth time, late in the day, almost at closing time. They'd actually sent me away the fourth time. And as I was walking away, the lady said, come back. She said, we've told you no 4 times, you keep coming back. We said we're having no jobs, you're not eligible. She said, but listen, I'll tell you what I'll do. She said, all of the jobs for people who are working in the program, officially in the program, we're oversubscribed. But we have some challenges in our outside maintenance people. They need some help with the outside maintenance people. I would allow you to stay on the university campus. And we'll give you basically the same benefits. But really, you're not in the program. We're just sort of allowing you through a back channel to get some of the benefits. Are you willing to take that? I thought about it for a minute, and I said yes. And so what that meant, outside maintenance, was cutting the grass and picking up the trash around the university campus. That's what I did. I picked up the trash. I cut the grass. While all the other students worked in the libraries, in the offices. That's what I did. And somewhere along that line, that summer, I said to myself, I'm not going to do this anymore. You know, the only grass that I'm going to cut will be grass that I actually own. That's my mom. So I made a conscious decision to apply myself. And guess what? What my parents and my teachers had said to me before, I was smarter than I realized. I had learned much more than I realized. The teachers and all of those who supported me and given me support and encouragement were right. To make a long story short, by the time I left the school, I was an honor student. I didn't realize that I was capable of the work. And here's what came to me within the first week of school. Here I am from this little rural community, being taught by people who said, you can do better. Education is a great equalizer. Apply yourself. We're going to give you this option. Believe in what we're doing. That's what I heard. And so the teacher, the first week of school, she said, on Monday, this was a Friday, what I thought she said, we're going to discuss this book. And we're going to come back on Monday for a discussion about the various aspects of the reading materials that have been displayed. I went home and came back on Monday afternoon. And she started calling students around the room. And the first 2 or 3, they were not prepared. These were students from New Orleans, the big city. These were students from Baton Rouge and Shreveport, all the big schools and all the private schools. They were not prepared. And she called on me, and I just started going from one end of the book to the other. I read the entire book and understood every concept within the book. You know what she said? She said, wait a minute. I didn't want you to do the book. That was not the assignment. The assignment was to do the first chapter. And here it is, that the other students from the big schools had not even prepared the first chapter, and this poor rural kid from Louisiana, from Baton Alexander, Louisiana, had done the entire book. And I said to myself, the people who are teaching me are right. I am smarter than that. I am better. And so by the time I left, I was an honor student. I was president of the student body. I was actively engaged in the civil rights struggle. I met people like Dr. King, John Lewis, Porter Snake. I was also a military graduate, a distinguished military graduate. Graduated from honors in military. At the end of my senior year, I was the president of the student body as well as the president of the ROTC brigade on campus. And went on from there to get not only a BA degree, an MA, a JD, an LLM. And when I graduated from law school, I graduated first in my law school class and the third highest average in the history of the law school. I became a White House fellow, not a White House intern. Monica Lewinsky was a White House intern. And tonight I'll be a part down in Washington, D.C. of the 50th anniversary of the White House Fellows Program. People like Colin Powell, all White House fellows. The point that I'm making is not to talk about me personally and the accomplishments, but about the people who made it possible, about the contributions that people made. And so when you are doing stuff for people literally around the world, all the way back in India, providing that seed money, and telling people that we can improve it. In fact, it is even better. Because the difference between how you move from poverty to some level of success has been made even greater for us. Because as I've traveled to places in India and Africa, in Latin America, there are young people in rural areas with cell phones. They have at least potentially the ability to go not 5 steps to be connected, but 1 or 2 to be connected. And so I know that it is discouraging at times when you see the strife, when you see the challenges, when you see the enormity of what is ahead of you, that you are encouraging people through education and healthcare. Because you have to do both. It's hard to educate a person who is not healthy and not able to have the attention span to listen and to learn. And so I want to thank you for what you're doing. Because it is through education, what I still believe as the great equalizer, that we can help change the world. Enlighten people. You can have civil discussion, but for the most part. Enlighten people. You are able to, in effect, find common ground. Enlightened people see how they can improve not only their lives, but the lives of people around them. And so I want to say to you again, thank you for what you're doing. I've had an opportunity to see much of what this struggle is about and the challenges ahead. And so when you reach out, you provide support, you have to find ways to teach, to bridge the many difficult gaps that are there. You are not only helping your communities and communities that are left behind, but you're helping all of us. Continue the great work that you're doing. Education is the great equalizer. It is one of the means for success for all of us. Now, when I say that, I'm saying that recognizing that there will be setbacks, there will be failures, there will be arguments among you about what is the best way. There will be people who are not quite as receptive. There will be governmental interferences. There will be all the challenges and difficulties that you face with all the people so much engaged and involved. There will be people who come and go and not participating as readily as hard as you should be. But the mere fact that you're here today, on a Saturday afternoon, you could be doing some other things with your time and attention, I think speaks well in volumes for the future. We have come a long way as a community, but I did not get to where I am today without people helping me along the way. Whether it was through the generosity of people in my community, people who encouraged me, whether it was through some government program, my success is attributable to so many My mother taught me 3 things, and they are valuable today for all of us. She taught me the value of education and knowledge. She taught me the value of hard work and a determination that we can make a difference. And she taught me to have the moral and ethical standard that religion, at least in my life, played a great role. That without that moral foundation, many of the other things are not possible. Because the worst thing to do is to educate a person who has the wrong values and use the education not in a constructive way, but a destructive way. I talked to some young people when I raised this question some time ago. And I said to them, I've seen some well-educated, hard-working, well-educated, hard-working drug dealers. Well-educated, hard-working drug dealers. They didn't have the moral, ethical, and spiritual foundation to do what was right with the knowledge and the hard work that came. That's the value of teaching. And teaching comes in formal settings in schools, but it also comes in informal settings through the parents, relationships, and people who help make it possible, through organizations who are trying to close the gap. I urge you to continue the good work, maintain your vigilance and dedication and commitment to providing the best conditions for those who are in great need. And I'm sure that someday, in those rural communities that you've touched, that you're going to see positive results. And when one young man or young lady from those rural communities stand in New Delhi and hold his or her hands up as the President or the Prime Minister of India, you said, we have to make that possible. Thank you.
Hello everybody, if I can get everybody into the room, if you can get everybody from outside, a couple things. Like I said, we're working with time here and I appreciate your patience. We're going to, I request everybody in the room for an additional half an hour. We're going to go over by only a half an hour, which is great, considering how we've been doing. Thank you for your patience. So basically we're going to take the session into 1:30. And a couple things, I'd like all the speakers for today to please come up. And if I can have them just stand in front of the stage, please. And can I have the Honorable Ike Leggett, please. And I'm going to go ahead and give the mic to Shashiji and
so the reason I'm coming now is to, number one, thank you all once again from the bottom of my heart to take this invitation and to come here and encourage us. On behalf of your effort for traveling from West Virginia and for Mr. Leggett to come here from leaving his other assignments, and Dr. Thakur Patel to come and be here with us, Sahabji to come from Mississippi, and Dr. Raju to come from West Virginia. we have a token of appreciation, and that is a certificate to take with you. You can use it the way you want. If you want to apply for next job, you can say you were here. Here is the certificate.
No, we'll take this one. Where is the cash? Seat in the lobby.
So, Viral, could you display that certificate? Is it coming? Oh, I see. Okay, so the certificate is showing the picture of a doctor who is holding a camp, health camp, and she's teaching to the population in front of her. That is the health education. So that was the purpose I selected that picture, and obviously we didn't frame it or anything, but I think this is still good enough. So thank you very much. And so please stay here for some more time. We have one more speaker after this section, and then after that we will continue with the question and answers later on. Thank you very much.
So let me get everybody's attention. Like Shashiji just said, we have one more speaker. So can I get everybody's attention? I have Dr. Suresh Gupta going to make a quick 1-minute announcement, and then we're going to go to our next speaker.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I just want to announce that County Executive Ike Leggett has been hosting Diwali celebrations in this very building in the cafeteria for the past 10 years or so. And we are going to have that celebration once again this Wednesday, October 28th, starting from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. We will have snacks, we will have dhol and mehndi and cultural programs. So please come, bring all your neighbors, and we want the Americans to get educated about us, Diwali and everything else. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh Gupta. And so again, can I get everybody's attention? I want to give this last presentation its full attention, just like we had the other presenters. Actually, I'm kind of biased because the next presenter is my partner. We have an organization called Earthopia. We had started this organization about 2 years back in regards to working in villages and bringing education and healthcare. And I didn't want to give the intro for Aron because it would be totally biased, so I'm going to have Ashwin come up here and give an objective intro. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. You know, following Mr. Ike Leggett and Dr. V.K. Raju is a tough act to follow, but we'll try. Of course, Dr. Raju has set the right tone in his speech about the engineers, and our next speaker is an engineer, computer engineer from Yale University, Mr. Aron Hines. So, Mr. Aron Hines is an entrepreneur and philanthropist who develops sustainable internet technology, products and teams. Since 2005, he has advised, mentored and funded more than 20 successful social startups, including Earthopia. After living in a village in Nicaragua, in 2006, he specialized in village-appropriate technologies. He became a social entrepreneur after retiring from IPDR.org, where he presided over collaborative development by 30+ companies. Currently, Aron's modest role as a database manager at a local independent school could mislead someone into thinking he has slowed his pace. Nothing could be further from the truth. This is just the latest of many concurrent challenges that Aron has taken on in his continued commitment to improve his own understanding of education in order to ignite sustained education reform on a global scale. From corporate America to international rural villages, Aron has sought to deeply empathize with the challenges of the people he has encountered and to build the teams that develop innovative solutions to those challenges simultaneously. Learning and growing as individuals from teamwork itself. And I would just like to acknowledge Aaron's parents who are in the house, Frank and June Hines. And last but not the least, we always say about Aaron that when he's in our meetings for Ekal Vidyalaya, it's good. When he's not, it's better. Because that's the time he's working with those people at the ground. Like you see that picture in Ranchi, which he visited last year, this year, stayed there for 3 to 4 months in a year's time, doing some real groundwork and bringing that self-sustaining communities. Let's hear it up from Aron Hines.
Well, we've had such a great round of speakers before me. I hate to confess that this is actually the first public talk I've given in more than a decade. So, I don't know if I'll be able to meet your expectations set by the other fine folks, but I'm bringing here the engineering perspective. We've heard that referred to by several of the doctors. Basically, the engineering perspective on what does it take to actually do great education in the village. So my aspiration, if you could do next slide, is to cross the chasm not only of wealth, but in the software development and rollout industry, we've learned that in any new technology, there's this chasm of personality types, basically, that some people really love new technology, but most people don't. So anytime you introduce a new technology, there's a resistance and there's a learning curve. So how can we cross that chasm both from a technology and acceptance point of view, as well as from the wealth and access point of view? That's the project and the goal of Earthopia. Next slide. So first I want to acknowledge two of my gurus, three of my gurus, one coming. This is Frank and June, my parents, who were Peace Corps volunteers in India, and basically set me on the path, along with my grandfather.